World War II gave us some terrifying weapons. We had massive tanks, V-2 rockets, and eventually the atomic bomb. But the United States had one secret weapon that was so stupid. It wasn't a robot. It wasn't a laser. It was bats. Yes, literal bats. This is the true story of how a dentist convinced the president to strap napalm to flying rats, and how that plan backfired, quite literally. In 1941, a dentist named Little S. Adams was on vacation at the Carlsbad Caverns. Instead of enjoying the view, he watched millions of bats flying out of a cave and thought, "Hey, Japanese houses are mostly made of wood and paper. Bats like to hide in roofs. What if we tie bombs to the bats and drop them over Japan?" It sounds like the ramblings of a madman. But he sent a letter to the White House, and surprisingly the military said, "Wait, let him cook." And so, Project X-Ray was born. The plan was simple, yet chaotic. First, they gathered thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats. Then, they designed tiny napalm bombs, no bigger than a candy bar, and strapped them to the bats' chests. To transport them, the military literally froze the bats into hibernation cubes. The idea was to drop them from a plane at dawn. The bats would wake up, fly away, hide inside the attics of enemy cities, and then, boom, millions of fires at once. However, there was a slight problem. Bats are wild animals. They don't listen to drill sergeants. During a test run at the Carlsbad Army airfield, a handler accidentally opened the gate too early. Thousands of armed bats escaped. And since they like dark places, they didn't fly to the target dummy village. Instead, they roosted under the fuel tanks, inside the hangars, and in the general's car. And then, the timers on the bombs went off. The entire airfield went up in flames. Barracks, control towers, expensive equipment, all burned to the ground. Ironically, this proved that the weapon worked. It was incredibly effective at burning down buildings. Unfortunately, the buildings it burned belonged to the United States Army. In the end, the project was cancelled. Not because it failed, but because the atomic bomb was finished, and the military preferred one big boom over a million tiny squeaky booms. Project X-Ray cost $2 million, killed 0 enemies, but successfully destroyed 1 American airbase.